Blood Moon Shadows, unveiling the nightmarish tale of the Nahual family's demonic reckoning. Scary story. I think we have all heard one of those stories whose purpose is to give a life lesson, but the way they are told is so sinister that it ends up generating fear in the listener. I know the origin of one of those stories. It happened about 60 years ago on a ranch in the highlands of San Luis Potosi, relatively close to Bocas. At that time, I was about 10 years old. I was from a poor family. We didn't go hungry, but we didn't eat our fill either. All the people on the ranch lived the same way, all except for one lady. She was the widow of a landowner. Although her husband had not been a millionaire, he had left her enough money to live comfortably for the rest of her life. The woman had horses, cows, bulls, everything. And besides, she didn't have to lift a finger, since she even had workers, the same people from the ranch. The woman had 3 children, all boys. They were unbearable. They humiliated the workers. They disrespected the workers' daughters. They were fucking bastards. But it was to be expected. Their mother was just as bad. She kept her workers busy all day long. There was always something to do, and when there wasn't, she would invent anything to keep them busy. She never gave them a minute to rest. The problem wasn't that. It was a job. The problem was that she paid them a pittance. She didn't even offer them a glass of water all day, much less a taco. Everyone hated her, but they also feared her. That lady was very influential. If someone stopped working with her, she would use her influence to make sure that person could not find work anywhere else. But there was something worse than all that. The lady had a disgusting fixation. She enjoyed going out of her house to throw away all the food she had left over during the day. She had a ditch where she dumped the food. It was in perfect condition. Sometimes they didn't even have a taste. The food was simply cold, and that was reason enough for her to throw it away as if it were waste. Some workers, desperate from hunger, would dive into the ditch to eat. Some grabbed to take back to their families. All this while, the lady's despicable sons watched with a mocking face full of sick satisfaction. There were times that on the edges of the ditch, the lady would leave cups, not with tea, not with coffee. It was muddy water. Several times, while the poor workers were fighting over the food in the ditch, the lady's children would take out buckets of filth, and throw it on her. That was the most disgusting and meanest thing a human being could do to another, taking advantage of his economic position. I know all this because a friend of my father's worked with that lady. On one occasion, a witch came to the region. She had a reputation for being cruel to unimaginable levels. But realizing that all of us who lived there were already going through a bad situation, she understood that there was nothing she could do to make our lives worse. So she went to visit the only family that was living well, that is, the lady and her children. She went to ask for some food, and as expected, the woman tried to humiliate her. She ordered a plate of succulent food to be brought to her, and then she threw it on the floor and spat on it, all in front of the witch. That made the witch burst with anger. The workers say that they had to run away from the house because a bloody and horrible massacre was unleashed. The witch began to throw the lady through the air, making her hit against doors and walls. The children, cowards, tried to flee, abandoning their mother, but the witch did not allow them to do so. The bodies of the children broke all the windows. Finally, blood began to flow from under the doors. It was all over. No worker left, because their resentment towards the lady and her children was greater than their fear of the witch, and they all wanted to make sure they got what they deserved. In the end, the witch left the house, completely exhausted, with blood all over her face. She walked away and was never seen again. There is always someone morbid who wants to see more. So someone approached the house. He stood for a few seconds, thinking whether to enter or not. He decided. He went in. Soon after, those outside heard how loudly he screamed. The guy came out of the house, running and slipping on all the blood that was on the floor. Behind him came a gigantic pig trying to catch up with him. Everyone ran away, terrified. They had to help the man who had entered the house because the pig had bitten him. It was a formidable animal. It was close to tearing off the man's leg. That was very strange. The lady did not have pigs in her house. Nobody knew where they had come from. Another thing that called the attention was that, according to the one who entered, that gigantic pig had come out of the dismembered body of the lady. That group of pigs were very aggressive. They not only attacked the people who crossed their path, they also attacked the animals. I really do not understand how, but they ate the chickens. They did not even leave the bones. It seemed that they did not satiate their hunger, no matter how much they ate. Some people say that the pigs cried when they couldn't find something to eat. Of course, nobody would even give them a hard tortilla, precisely because of the way they behaved. The Nahual family, horror story. They were never seen sleeping. It seemed that they could not sleep. They did lie down to rest, but they did not close their eyes. They were not only in this rancher A. There were people from the surrounding area who also saw the group of pigs. It was impossible not to notice them. Such a huge black pig did not go unnoticed. That beast was hairy. It had a prominent nose. Its face was doughy. For the same reason its eyes looked small. Its legs were the only place where it had no hair. Its hooves were very strange. They looked like two huge bone claws. But, without a doubt, the most intimidating thing about the creature was its size. It was bigger than the table we had in the house. That herd of pigs, once a week, would get into the abandoned house that had been the lady's. The 4 pigs would come in squealing. They made a lot of noise. It seemed that they were wailing. They rolled all over the place. They went to where the ditch was and looked for food, but there was nothing there. One night, the first sighting of something macabre occurred. An acquaintance of my father's told him that, as he passed near a mud puddle where the pigs were wallowing, he noticed that their faces had changed noticeably. His features were human. More people also claimed to have seen the pigs with human faces, curiously similar to the lady and her children. There were those who dared to affirm that those animals emitted words, or at least that they tried to, but that and seeing them with human faces only happened during the night. And things only went from bad to worse. The things that were said about that herd of pigs were getting stranger and stranger. The situation escalated so much that anything bad that happened was blamed on those animals. If an animal was lost, if something was destroyed, if someone was found dead, the answer was always the same. It was the pigs. I swear, I saw them. So it became confusing to know what that strange herd of pigs was really doing. What I did know is that one night I accompanied my father to pick up some branches. We went quite far from the house. When we were on our way back, we met a horrifying creature. It was a Nahual pig. It was a skinny, tall being, all covered with black hair, with long claws and a tail. Its face was unnerving. It had an elongated snout and sharp fangs. I affirm that it was a Nahual because that beast had hair, and not just any hair. It was identical to that of the woman who had been slaughtered by the witch. The Nahual pig did not notice our presence. It simply walked by while 3 pigs followed it. It was obvious what was happening. The witch had punished the wicked woman for being mean and wasting food. She condemned her to live as a pig with the ability to take a humanoid form. And so she spent the rest of her days wandering, heard crying from time to time. It is said that one afternoon, on the banks of a river far from here, they found 4 bodies. They were the woman and her children. Nobody knows how they got there, but legend has it that one of the corpses had the face of a pig. Thank you for joining us for this spine-tingling story. We hope you found it both thrilling and thought-provoking. If you enjoyed this video, please consider participating in our channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing it with your friends. Your support goes a long way in helping us create more engaging content for you. Goodbye, and may you always tread carefully in the world of the unknown. That was very strange. The lady did not have pigs in her house. Nobody knew where they had come from. Another thing that called the attention was that, according to the one who entered, that gigantic pig had come out of the dismembered body of the lady. That group of pigs were very aggressive. They not only attacked the people who crossed their path,